Hi Connelly Clan fam! I have escaped outside because in the mornings it is a little chaotic in our house, especially on school mornings, and today is one of those. And so I thought today would be a good day to talk about homeschooling. So we started homeschooling 6 months ago, and I cannot believe that it has been 6 months. But public school is out now in our area, and we never really talked about a lot of the whys, why we chose to homeschool when our kids have been in public school for years. So I thought today we'd go a little bit more into the why and the how's it going homeschooling 10 kids. So today we're talking about homeschooling, and earlier I said that we homeschool 10 kids, and we do have 10 kids at home, but Christian, he just kind of is learning his ABCs, and we don't work a whole ton with him. But Charlie is in preschool. She was in preschool and public school, and so we do actually work with her and trying to get her ready for kindergarten. She kind of has a tough time learning, and so we are working with her a little early just to make sure that she has those core things before she actually starts kindergarten. But I think we have probably similar thoughts and then maybe different perspectives too on homeschooling and why we homeschool. And
yeah.
So do you want to talk about why?
Well, I think one of the big reasons for me, I think for both of us, is that we didn't really 100% agree with what the kids were learning at school. We felt like they were teaching the same old stuff in a different way to make it challenging for the kids, but there seemed to be no reason to change the way they were teaching. Everything seems to be complicated, and it doesn't need to be. And I don't know if that's in an attempt to keep the kids busier or what that was all about, but it seemed like they just changed things since I went to school years ago. But a lot of the stuff that I found, I went and got my doctorate, was that the majority of the stuff they teach you, other than ABC, how to read, how to do basic math, I don't want to get into the history because I think it's not all correct history that they're teaching, but I don't want to go there right now. But just a lot of different things told me after 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, indoctrinating our children in things that we don't necessarily believe in or wouldn't be the approach we would take, and didn't really give them life skills that I feel like they're going to need in the upcoming years.
So one of the things that happened for me on my journey of deciding that I didn't really want the kids in public school was Rosie had this question, and there were things that happened before this, but Rosie had this question about a plant. They were learning about plants, and it was something about, is this plant like, I don't know, like this or this, and you had to, and she asked me, and I'm like, I have no idea. And I said, well, ask Dad. And so she asked Shaun, and Shaun was like, I don't know. And that was one of the moments where I realized the kids were learning all kinds of things that really didn't matter. And I say that because, now maybe it would matter to a botanist, or somebody who's going to go into plants.
Or into chemistry, right.
Right. But, you have a doctorate degree, like you said, and I have a bachelor's degree, and neither one of us could answer the question.
Yeah, and this is, I think she was in fifth at that
grade
point.
Yeah.
But it starts to be, you start helping them with their homework, and you're looking at what they are crying about. I mean, literally in tears. A couple of our kids every day had bouts of crying, and I can't do this, I don't understand it. And we would get in there and work with them and realize what they are crying over really means absolutely nothing in real life.
Right.
We're not going to go back in 10 years when they're out in a certain field or at home, doing work. They're not going to need any of that stuff. And I get the idea behind trying to get them to problem solve. But they are memorizing facts that mean nothing to their futures. And there's going to be people out there that argue about that.
Sure.
But our public school systems are not set up to succeed in the world we're in right now.
Right.
They just aren't.
Well, and you were talking about the kids crying, and we had several kids that would come home and they would have hours and hours, like 4 or 5 hours they would be trying to do their homework after they just spent 8 hours at school.
Right.
And it was absolutely ridiculous. So another story, and this happened with Rosie again, school, in our school, I will say they are ahead. So
We think they are.
well, I feel like they teach things like almost like a grade level ahead. That's what we found with Brianna when she went from here to Kansas City and then back. And so they have a lot of high expectations for the kids. So she brought home this homework and she was doing it, and it's one of those things where you answer questions on the computer, and if you get one wrong, it sets you back 5. So you get 5 more questions. Now, I get the idea behind that they want you to really learn that topic, and so they're going to give you some extras to practice on. But they had to have like so many done in a day, and so she brought this home and she spent like an hour trying to figure it out and couldn't. And it didn't matter how many times I explained it to her, she just had a hard time. So finally I sat down and I said, I will answer each one and you answer each one, and then we'll compare our answers to make sure you get the right answer. And then if you did it wrong, I'll show you what you did wrong. So we did that, and she still was having such a hard time. And finally, after 2 hours of doing that one thing, I said, you know what? I'm done. And so I sat down and I did it for her, and it took me another hour and a half to complete it. And I knew what I was doing, and I could feel, why she was so frustrated, right, and why the kids are crying. And 4 hours of homework after spending 8 hours in school was ridiculous. And so that was another thing that I really didn't agree with.
Yeah, and as the kids get older and get into middle school and age out of elementary, there started to be problems at the middle school age group with pranks being pulled and just things you don't want your kids involved in. Yep. When they're in 6th grade. Yep, right. I mean,
yep. And sixth grade is middle school for us.
Yeah, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And when I was in middle school, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th. Which even then, a 7th grader, they've mentally grown enough, I feel like. But those 9th graders are a whole different level of issues and problems that come along with them. And some of them are great kids. Most of them are. There's just there's a lot of stuff going on in the schools that I don't know if kids tell their parents all the time. We have kids that come home and just divulge everything. And when you hear just 1 or 2 days of the drama that goes on in the bullying and our oldest, Emma, she changed overnight when she started going there. Yep. And she had a couple of friends, good friends, but she just changed. She wouldn't talk much. She wanted to be in a room by herself all the time, was mean to her siblings, and we started having problems. And I don't know if it was associated with the school, but that was the only external environment she was exposed to was the school. So we had a bunch of big problems, not a bunch, a few big problems happen with her. And
once we started homeschooling her, though, it was like a different kid.
Well, it took about a week or 2, and you could just see she was breathing normal. Her eyes looked back to normal. She wasn't frowning. Yep. Right. And she was talking to us like a 6th grader, should talk to their parents, light conversation, fun. Right. But that went away when she went to school, in middle school. Yep. And I don't think we have bad schools here. I think we have some of the best in the state. Yeah. But when you see that distinct change in your kids, you've got to be thinking something's wrong, whether it's bullying, whether it's they just don't feel like they can keep up. The testing was like once a week they had standardized tests. I don't get that.
The testing was, even the kindergartners had testing like every other week. It was crazy. So, and then, you had mentioned too the teaching different. And so actually the kids' teachers, okay, so the first thing that happened was Emma came home with math, and I sat down and I said, here's how you do this problem. And she said, I can't do it that way. They teach it different now, and you have to do it a certain way, otherwise you get the answer wrong.
Because they need to show their work.
Right.
And if they're not doing the work the way that
they were taught,
right,
they get it wrong. So she finally figured out how to do it, and she showed me, and I said, well, that's like 5 extra steps. You don't have to do those 5 extra steps. You could do it this way and it's 5 less steps. And she said, nope, we have to do it this way. And then the next year after that, they switched the elementary's math program. And the teacher sent out an email saying, I have told your kids that you will not be able to help them with their math anymore because they have to do it this way that they're being taught now. And even we as teachers had to relearn it because now they're teaching it different. And
so a lot of the things started not adding up to us. Why make it more of a problem to come up with an answer?
Right.
Let's use the old style, get your answers and move on to something in computers or something in today's world. And they were getting computer stuff, but I just never felt like they were going in the right direction. And now we've got a 6th and 7th grader, and that's when we decided to pull them.
Well, and then we have one child that we have more than one that have special services. So one of the kids that have an IEP, they really were passing everything with flying colors for a certain amount of years. And I found out behind the scenes that there was some extra help going on that they should not have been having, sometimes just being given answers. And I think that the teachers had good intentions. But then they got to a certain grade level, and those teachers had really high expectations, and then were saying things to her like, why can't you keep up, and what's wrong with you, and in front of the class. And it was 2 different teachers that did that. And I couldn't believe that the teachers would just call them out like that. And I get, like, if you think you have a lazy kid maybe, and they want them to, I don't know, feel embarrassed so that way they stop being lazy. I don't know, but
and the thing I think we want to express is that we have teachers in our family circle. I mean, we have, my aunt's a retired French professor, and we know the challenges those teachers must go through with the kids and the different type of learning they're trying to establish in the schools. So the teachers, I think, are overwhelmed, and I'm not sure why they would do that to the teachers.
Well, and I don't think all teachers are bad. I just couldn't believe that these 2 teachers happened to call her out the way they did. But homeschooling, I have definitely a respect for those teachers who have to try to keep those kids, under control in their classroom. And like, I had respect for teachers before, but like, I have a whole nother level of respect at this point.
And that seemed to really come out during COVID, and the kids not being in school, and then all of a sudden it's on us. That opened our eyes to what they were learning as well. So it was a process that we went through. My sister raised her kids through, I think, the start of high school as homeschoolers. And it worked out very good. And we just kind of got to a point where it made no sense that the kids were at school for 8 hours a day and came home and had 4 hours of homework, and they were crying, and they were depressed, and they were not talking anymore and looking like they used to.
So for us, and I know it's not for everyone, but for us, it was the best decision for our kids, we felt. And I never saw myself as a homeschooling mom, but after seeing what was happening with, everything going on, we just decided that was going to be best for our kids. And there are pros and cons, obviously, to homeschooling. And even the kids say that they, in their mind, there are pros and cons to homeschooling. Today we are talking about homeschooling, and I wanted to get your thoughts. First, tell me, do you remember how you felt when we first started homeschooling? Or like right before we started homeschooling, but we were talking about doing it? Were you like excited about it, not excited? How did you feel?
That you're trying to take my social life
I was trying to take your social life?
away from me because I'm naughty.
Because you're naughty. But you're not really naughty. You just made a couple bad choices. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, how do you feel about homeschooling now, though? Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it?
I enjoy it.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, because I get to eat whatever I want.
You can eat whatever you want. You're so funny. Okay, so what are some things you like about it?
I get to go on nitro type, whatever I want.
You get to practice. Yep, you guys can do whatever you want for learning.
Yes. Only 2 hours of school.
Yeah, there's actually, we do 2.5 to 3 hours, so that's not too bad. What's something you don't like about it?
I don't get to see my friends.
No friends, yeah, that does stink. Although we've recently found out there are some things going on at middle school that was not good.
Yeah.
So sometimes there are bad things about public school. Okay, but you do miss your friends. Yes, I know that. And you really have thought about you really kind of are thinking about going to high school if you can what?
What is it called?
Dual credits.
Dual credits.
So you want to get high school credit and college credit at the same time.
Yes.
So we're going to look into that and see if that's even a possibility. But if you could do that, you want to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, how about you, Rosie? What did you think about homeschooling before we did it?
I didn't like it.
You didn't want to do it?
No.
How come?
Well, because I didn't think it was gonna be fun, and I missed my friends a lot.
Okay, so friends, and you didn't think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
What do you think? And we've been doing it for 6 months.
Yeah.
What do you think about it now?
I like it. I mean, it has its pros and it has its cons, but I like it.
So overall, you like it?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Well, we only get a short amount of time to learn,
Yeah?
and we get to do whatever we want to learn about, of our interest,
Yeah?
and we
Anything?
don't have to do a lot of reading.
Just 20 to 30 minutes a day. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
What's something you don't like about it?
So at my old school,
Yeah?
right now, this past week, they've been doing, fun things.
Yes.
And they're graduating and having their speeches and that stuff, and I really want to do that.
You wanted a 5th grade graduation? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you did miss out on that, didn't you? And you do, they have dress-up days, and they have bring money for this days, and they
They're
have...
going to the arcade today for the graduation.
Oh, they're going to the arcade?
Yeah, because it's supposed to be 100% rain and a high of 58.
Oh, normally they have what, a picnic or something?
Well, no, yesterday they had a picnic.
Oh, yesterday they
So
did.
the whole day was just a picnic and playing
Oh.
and cleaning. So. Yeah.
Okay. How about you over there? I see you hiding, Jade. Jade likes her hidey holes. What did you think about homeschool before we did it?
I thought it would be really, really fun.
You did? Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you think about it now?
I think that it does have its pros and cons, but like Rosie said, I did really want a 5th grade graduation.
Yeah.
And I really loved their cafeteria, but we don't have that much.
Their cafeteria stuff?
In 6th grade.
For 6th grade?
John and Emma were always bragging about, oh my gosh, you guys are gonna love the food, and that's we don't even get to taste it.
Because they have all kinds of things to choose from.
Yeah, like pizzas. Emma said there's 7 types of pizza.
Yeah, I don't even know how they pull that off, but yes, they do. But the options were getting a little bit less because of things that were going on in the world. They were running out of food to feed everybody and weird things going on. But so you like homeschool.
And then things I like about it, a short amount of time.
Okay.
I get to pick what I want on education.com instead of being forced
Yeah.
to do a certain thing. Because in math class, I would get so tired and I would almost fall asleep because I was so bored.
In math? Mm-hmm. But you love math. Mm-hmm. Do you wait, you're the opposite. Math is hard for you, is that right?
But I get like addition.
You push yourself a lot, I know that. What I see for you in homeschooling is that you love learning now. Like, you'll learn even when it's not school time.
Yeah.
And when you were in school, you hated learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the difference I see in you. Okay, John, how about you? Okay, first tell me, what did you think about homeschooling before?
That I don't ever have to learn for 7 hours a day.
Were you excited about it though?
No.
No, you weren't. You were upset. You were very upset actually because you were going to miss your friends. Yes? Yeah. Okay. What do you think about it now?
Well, now I think I can just, all I have to do is just watch a couple learning videos for 3 hours. Do one lesson of Spanish.
You're going to sit in a chair with a blanket
Yep.
and your laptop and learn.
Yep, and I spent about like 5 hours just to make all this. There's a waving penguin.
Yes, you are coding. You're learning coding, which is awesome. I think that's awesome. You've learned all kinds of things. You've learned how to start a business. You learned about advertising. You've learned how to code. You are learning both Spanish and Russian. And I think that you have really excelled at homeschool because you've learned all kinds of things in a short amount, in 6 months. So I think that's amazing. Okay, what are some good things about it?
The thing about homeschool is that you can do a lot after it. Like, you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
as long as your parents are fine with it.
Right. We have an hour of core curriculum and then we have an hour of learn what you are interested in. Yes.
I got a lot of time left over.
And then we
after school.
do a foreign language and then we do reading and then that's it. So it's about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so tired though.
It's tiring. You gotta force your brain to work.
No, my brain's so lazy. It's from
So
just sitting
lazy.
around.
Lily, what do you think about homeschooling?
I like it right now.
You do? Were you worried about homeschooling?
Yeah, I was afraid I'll never get to see my friends again.
But you see your friends all the time because some of them live right across the street. So you like homeschooling now?
Yeah.
Good. You said you wanted to say one more thing about homeschool.
Yeah.
What?
I don't like that you know what I'm doing 24/7.
You don't like it. That's what a parent's job is. A parent is supposed to know what their kids are doing 24/7. Did you know that?
Yes,
Yeah.
but
But still don't like it.
I don't.
That's okay. I don't think any teenager likes it.
The world is obviously so much different, and I feel like they are still giving so much emphasis on a generalized education, which is great to have a child well-rounded, socially, academically, physically, with the gym and stuff like that. But I kind of feel at this point, as the kids are getting older and they've got a lot of their basics down, that we feel that are necessary. I really feel in this day and age with the internet and things like that, you can learn so much in such a short period of time, as we have absolutely the world of information at our fingertips. And I feel like it was going to be great to find what the kids were really adept at and let them have fun learning, because really it should be fun.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, focus is a big thing. A focused interest will allow you to learn all the aspects of one topic or discipline or whatever you want to call it. And you can do that in such a short period of time. You don't need 4 years of college to learn anymore.
Right. And I 100% agree with what you're saying. And I think, like John, he figured out that he loves coding. And he can go in there and he can code a website. And it's really easy for him. And I don't think he would have found that out, if he was still going to public school. And same thing with some of the other kids, like Elena, she's super good in science. And she goes out and her brain just works like that. And in one of our videos, she talked about, with the water and...
Yeah.
And so she says things to me and I'm like, how'd you know that? but it's because they're able to go out and research things that they're interested in.
Right.
And some of this stuff is things that they wouldn't have even learned until high school, and they're able to learn it now, and they're interested in it, and so it just sticks.
Yeah.
And I love that. And
So basically the idea is find out what they're interested in, what they really have a passion for, and let them learn as much as they can possibly learn. You can become an expert, in a week on a topic or a field. I mean, it's crazy. And we're not talking about becoming an engineer and being able to pass,
Right.
Yeah, so...
Well, and really instilling, I think, a love of learning. And so like with Jade, she hated learning at school. And now here at home, she is learning even when it's not learning time. And that ultimately was my goal. I want the kids to learn that learning never ends. So they're learning more like adults learn. You want to learn something, you want to learn how to do photography or videography, or you want to learn how to do haircuts. Like, you can go out and just learn it, and that's how adults learn.
Right.
And you learn what you're interested in, and ultimately that was what I felt like was best.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how it's going. So we've been homeschooling since November. We were going to take the kids out at semester, but we ended up taking them out right around Thanksgiving time. So it's been 6 months.
And one of the reasons that really kicked it into gear was COVID. They were starting to cancel classes again because of cases, or the kids sitting around a certain person. If they tested positive, they were at home for 10 days. I mean, it really was a hit and miss anyway.
Well, and Rosie lost her taste and smell. And so we called school and they said, nope, she can't come to school, and neither can anybody in your family.
Right.
And so at that point we were like, well, we might as well just take them out now.
Yeah.
And
so I would say the decision to take them out was the hardest part. It was scary, kind of.
It was a little scary.
You're going against the norm.
Yeah.
Everybody in our neighborhood sends their kids to the school up the street.
Yep.
And overcoming the fear of, how are we going to do this? Is it going to work? Is it going to be too much trouble? Is it,
Right.
Was a hard thing. So the decision to do it was the hardest so far.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Because you do feel like you're going outside of social norms. And then also the fear too of, am I going to be able to do this? Like, am I going to be able to organize them and keep them on track and have them learn what they need to learn? And like, can I do that? And and especially with so many kids, we have 9 kids learning. And we've got a lot of personalities in there. Yes,
and
yes.
What is nice about the homeschooling that we found so far is when, let's say, Jade or somebody has an off day, we have no problem saying, okay, let's take a break. If we can, come back in an hour, and if not, let's try it tomorrow.
Right.
And that, taking that pressure off of them and off of us.
Yep.
And allowing them to go, mope in their room, or go ride a bike and get some of their energy out.
Yep.
And come back to it later in the day or tomorrow.
Yep.
It makes it a lot easier with this many kids.
Yes. So being able to be flexible,
right?
Yeah, is great. And really, the kids pretty much, I feel like, do their work on their own. So we've tried a couple different schedules. And right now what seems to be working best is an hour of core curriculum, an hour of researching your interests, and then they do like 30 minutes of reading, and then like 10 minutes of a foreign language. And then after that, then they can go outside and exercise, which would kind of be like PE.
And we got into a pattern of having them presented in the week,
yes.
or at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What did you learn, Rosie?
Yeah.
And all the kids sit around and listen to the topic she's been researching, and they learn what she learned.
Yep.
And we can kind of listen and get an overview of what they're taking in. If there is something that's a little off that they maybe found, we can kind of redirect them.
Yep. And sometimes I'll give them topics. Like, I've had the kids say, well, I don't know what to do this week. And so I have a list of topics. So like a couple weeks ago, I had them research FAS, which is fetal alcohol syndrome. And that is something that we, has touched our lives before, and we think possibly one of the kids has it. And so having them research that and being familiar with, topics that actually touch your life, I feel like is good. And then, the sharing, when they share and the other kids are able to hear, and then they can retain something, somebody else knew. I just feel like that's such a great way to learn.
Yeah. And then, it seems like we're kind of in a pattern. Maybe every 3 weeks we'll have them do a presentation in front of all of us. And that's always kind of neat to watch. They're still getting that audience feeling and that funny feeling in their stomach, and but they're learning to public speak in a sense in front of all of us. And it's a neat thing to watch, and they don't have to be necessarily freaked out to do this. And if they are, we'll wait till the next day to do it, and let them kind of feel like, this isn't really that big of a
and each
scary
time
thing.
they do a presentation, I have them use their notes less and less. So like the first time they did it, they could 100% use their notes, and the next time then I had them use their notes like 50%, and they've gotten to a point where they're pretty good about just presenting what they remember, and then doing the PowerPoints is always fun to see what they come up with their PowerPoints. And even Lily, like, she's a second grader, and she's really excited about doing PowerPoints. She's like, can I do one? Right. And which is fun to see. So, and I feel like homeschooling is going fairly well. There are days where, the kids are loud and noisy, and, we've got Christian and he's loud, and it's hard, there are hard days. But the flexibility is so nice.
Yeah, we haven't even really touched on the flexibility of travel and things like that.
Right, yes.
Most of you guys know we have a house in Texas, and we love to go to the ocean and spend a lot of time, not just a weekend, but live part of our life down there by the ocean. And it allows us to just pick up when the time works out between doctor's visits and things like that, and go down and spend half of our life doing that, and they can experience that different culture down there. Just the wildlife differences and the ocean rather than just the fields of corn here.
Well, and that really, it's been such a learning experience. The different animals down there, and we've talked about that several times, all the different things that we see, and then the kids learn, about that. Oh, an armadillo, what's that? Or we go to the ocean, and we saw what was that on the
Roadrunner? No.
Oh no, it was at the ocean, and it was the stingray, and it was laying on the sand, and then they got to see what that looks like. Just so cool how different things are.
So I guess my feeling on it is it's gone better than I would have hoped it was going to go. Once we got over the initial decision and made that, it has gone much better than I thought it would. We still have sometimes the worry, are they getting enough? Are they, But I think that's normal, and the longer we do it, the less worried we are. So I'm very happy with our decision to do it. That doesn't mean in 3 years, 5 years, we don't go a different route and put them back. But right now, there seems to be no reason to revert back to that.
Yep, it's working for us. And I'll tell you, my philosophy is that learning never ends. And so even though our school is getting out, for me, it's easier to keep the kids on a regular schedule. So my plan is just that we learn all through the summer, that we're going to keep our routine of learning for, those 2.5, 3 hours. And when we need to take breaks, like if we travel or, something happens and we need to take a break, we can take them at those times.
Right.
But that's my plan right now. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and we would love to help you along your journey if you need it.
Yeah. We'll talk to you later, guys.
All right.
Bye.